Welcome to another David Rams live stream, and today we've got a manly one, a manly live stream. So I asked on my Instagram, I asked all the vegan men to tell me any kind of, things that they'd had happen to them being a vegan man specifically, right? So like, had anyone ever said shit to them? Had they ever had any problems, any questions they wanted to ask? I was just looking to get some experiences from the vegan men out there, because as a vegan man myself, I know how some of these experiences can be. I was actually born and raised vegetarian, so unlike most, I had to go through school with all of this kind of nonsense about being a guy and wanting to care for animals and people coming after me for that. So I thought, why don't I reach out to all the other vegan men who are dealing with this maybe for the first time, and let's see if I can help, right? Because I've been through this from birth, right, all the way up until now. And that's what we're going to do today. It's going to be split up into 3 parts, guys, right? We're going to have the experiences, so vegan men experiences. We're going to go through, we're going to talk about them, break them down. I've got a lot of stories, guys, some dramatic shit, like some nasty shit, some kind of funny shit, but not very nice shit. We're going to go through all of those experiences. Then we're going to answer some questions from the people who wanted to talk about this as well. Some questions that I've got from my Instagram. Then finally, the stream wouldn't be complete without a meat flake section. So we have a few manly man meat flakes as well, macho man meat flakes to finish off the session. Now, of course, this is open to you as well. If you are a vegan guy and you have some questions, something you want to share, you are free to do it in the chat. But because I've already got so many, the only way you can 100% guarantee that I will read it out on the stream or answer your question live on stream is if you send a contribution through Streamlabs, where the link is in the pinned comment, you can get that, or through Super Chat. If you do that, Streamlabs or Super Chat, I will 100% read out your issue, problem, I'll answer your question, whatever it is. 100% I will do it on air. I will do it in this live stream. If not, there's a chance I won't get to it because I've got a lot to get through. All right, so I hope you understand. So then let's jump in, shall we? Let's start off with some of these experiences, and I'll give my 2 cents and tell you about any comparable experience I've had and maybe help a few people through some of this shit that they've been going through. So let's take a look. All right. By the way, I've censored everyone's names because I promised I'd keep this anonymous, all right? But the meat flakes aren't anonymous, so wait for that. One of my school friends kept saying, I'm not going to say that because YouTube will get upset, when he found out I was vegan. And we're off to the kind of start of what we expected. Now, it's funny because I've noticed that a lot of meat eaters claim that they don't say these kinds of things, like vegan men, non-vegan men, like meat-eating men. They say things like, "Oh no, that's not true, men. We don't say that. It's not about how manly you are. It's not about that. It's something else. Blah blah blah." Okay, well, then how do you explain this person who's saying that they being called this just because they're vegan? And there seems to be quite a lot of this idea of caring for animals means you're gay, right? And so let's break this down. So first off, since when was being gay now a bad thing? Again, I mean, as in I know in the past people used to believe it was a bad thing, like men used to make jokes and things like that, and it was used as an insult, right? And I thought most people had kind of moved on from that. I mean, I don't know about you, but most of my friends, and even me, myself, when we were little kids, you would call people gay as an insult, right? I'm sorry. I mean, it is what it is, right? I learned and I don't do it anymore. And a lot of people learned and don't do it anymore. And I thought in 2021, I was under the impression that this just wasn't a thing anymore. But I do see it quite a lot, like being used as an insult, as if it's like somehow like a bad thing to be a gay man. It's really strange. and anyway, even though it's not an insult, but the second thing is, why is there a connection between giving a shit about others and apparently being gay? Like, where is the connection here? Like, are they suggesting that all gay people are very caring? But because that wouldn't be an insult then for gay people. But the reality is it's not even true. Like you don't just automatically become like some wonderful, caring, loving person because you're gay. I know the rainbow flag might suggest that because, rainbows are lovely and everything, but it's not the case. Like there are still, assholes who happen to be gay. So it's not, I don't get how these things are synonymous, right? It's a really interesting breakdown that I've never understood it. I guess I guess what they mean is that because they think all gay people are soft, all gay men are soft or weak or whatever. That's what it is. So they're saying, "Oh, you gay now?" But even that's not even remotely true. We all know that that's not even remotely true. So it's just it's so weird on so many levels. I think most often it's a projection, really, isn't it? Because most of these men are probably terrified of gay people because they're terrified of their own emotions, because maybe they've got a little bit of closeted gayness inside them, right? Let's be honest. That sounded a bit weird, right? But to be fair, though, like, hear me out. If you are really, really aggressive towards gay people, like you're really, oh, I don't like you, because it probably means you're compensating for the fact that you have some gay thoughts, right? Otherwise, why would you give a fuck? You know what I mean? Why would you care? It doesn't make any sense. All right, let's move to the next one. They told me I'm a pussy for being kind with the animals. Yeah, kind of linked with the past one, right? That the idea that you're soft because you care about someone else. It's like manly not to care, isn't it? This is kind of with these people that it's like if you say like, hey, I care about you, I don't want to harm you to either an animal or to it's deemed as to be it's like soft. Yeah, it means you're a pussy or something like that. Whereas in reality, I mean, when the majority of the world is doing something that hurts others and you stand against it, that's the bravest thing you can do, to stand against it. That takes insane courage. Like if the opposite of being a pussy is being courageous and strong, then surely vegans are some of the strongest people out there, because they are standing up against everyone else and saying, I will not do this just because you all do it, right? So then that by default then means that the people who just go along and keep doing it, they're the pussies. They're the soft ones, because they don't have what it takes to stand up and fight for something that is right. They don't have the guts to stand up and say, no, what's happening to animals is horrible. They agree with us that it's horrible. They agree that animals don't deserve to be harmed, but they're too much of a soft ass to stand up and say no. They're too scared of copping shit. Exactly. So someone, as you're saying in the comments, they're too scared of copping shit. So they're the ones that are soft. They are the pussies, as they say, calling the vegans. So it's usually the same typical attack. Soy boy, weakling, you should eat some meat. It'll help your brain, etc. Yeah, this is again, I've been told, I've read in a few places, oh, no one calls vegans soy boys. No one says that. And it's like, well, yeah, they do. They do. A lot of people call vegans this soy boy thing. And that in itself has become a whole like cult movement. The idea that I think soy boy is not even, when someone says like soy boy, they don't even only mean vegans anymore. It just means someone that they deem to be too, don't know, maybe easily offended, or like a snowflake kind of thing. Like soy boy and snowflake have become kind of synonymous, I feel. And like soy boys, they feel that they dress a certain way. Hipsters, basically. Like snowflake hipsters are what most are calling soy boys now. So it's not even got anything to do with veganism anymore. Like they don't have to be vegan to be a soy boy. So that's kind of developed a little bit from there. And the whole weakling thing. I mean, I've just been out training with the Greek national calisthenics champion, 7 times champion. And for 4 of those championships that he won, he's been vegan for 3.5 years now, I think it was. So this guy's a beast as well. And, that's anecdotal, but there are loads of people out there that are beasts. And yeah, there are loads of weakling vegans as well. Sorry, there are a lot of weak vegans. It is what it is. There are a lot of weak vegans. There are a lot of weak meat eaters. There are vegans that don't take care of themselves and get too skinny. There are meat eaters that don't take care of themselves and get too skinny. It's not all dependent on whether they eat plant-based or not. The people eat unhealthily, right? And the whole brain thing. We've got a Miley Cyrus here, right? I think Miley Cyrus did a lot of damage with that Joe Rogan podcast, telling the whole brain, oh, my brain wasn't functioning properly. Needed fish for the brain. Yeah, sure. Jokes about me being a fan of phallic-shaped vegetables. To be fair, that's like a little bit more unique. To be fair, right? Phallic-shaped vegetables I've not heard before. If someone said that to me, I'd probably find it funny. And look, I'll try and give some advice on these as well, actually. I think that's going to be more, rather than just reacting, responding, let's give some advice too. Because I think with some of these things, like, for example, being a fan of phallic-shaped vegetables. It's kind of funny. Do you not think that's funny? I mean, there's nothing really harmful about this sentence. It is. I would laugh. Phallic means like I can't. I don't even know how to say it without YouTube getting on my back. But basically, the male appendage shape, let's say, like cucumber shaped vegetables. So they're saying like that basically, and I'd find that funny, to be honest. And sometimes you just got to laugh, right? That's a really good way of dealing with these people. If they say something that is actually funny and you find it funny, like don't worry about it. Just laugh. That's actually a funny joke. And there are a few in here that are a bit like, okay, I understand if the person who sent me this is upset. I get that. All right. I get it. But try not to take yourself too seriously at all times. When people are doing this kind of stuff, and especially men, like, men have this we have this thing, don't we like banter. A lot of men banter, at least English men. We have this thing called banter, right? So basically it's like you just kind of make fun of each other, and yeah, sometimes it can go too far, especially if it's something about your morals and the way you know the things you're passionate about. But if it's something like this, just let it go. Like, go with the banter. Maybe just say something back to them and just let it go, right? Because it's really not that offensive. Calling me, this is a bad one, calling me salad, that word, etc., etc. Too many direct and indirect, probably tougher to handle insults or comments. Now, honestly, with this one, when I first read it, I've got to be clear, I've got to be honest with you guys. I kind of laughed a bit because I've never heard that before, the word salad and that. And I just, although I really hate that word, the second word there, obviously I do not, if I hear someone say that in person, I'd tell them like, hey, come on, that's fucked up. But if they'd said something else in a place of it, like salad, so I don't know, it flows, and I kind of, it's unique, or I'll give it that. And I did laugh, but then I was like, that's not really, it wouldn't be nice if someone said it to you in a way that's meant to hurt you. So yeah, it depends on how it was delivered. If it was delivered as a joke, I'd probably say like, fucking hell, that's really offensive. Like, it's funny because it's offensive, but you know, you shouldn't say that. All right. I get why you said it, dark humor, but you shouldn't say it. If they said it in like a really serious way, that they're actually trying to insult me, then I would be like, wow, you know, you're a piece of shit. That's like a really disgusting way to say, some disgusting thing to say to somebody. So I guess it depends on how it was delivered. But either way, if someone calls you something as bad as that, then I feel like you've got to make a decision on, all right, am I going to try and be the big person here, or am I going to try and maneuver around it without making it being the bigger person, if that makes sense? Because you can, one second, you can either be like, hey, like, this is really fucked up, man. You're fucked up. And then that's kind of like taking the high ground, and that might not end up so well if it's a guy friend. Or you can be like, yeah, funny, good one. But you know, like, that's kind of like a messed up word, you know. You can be a bit more casual with it and be like, I don't know, that's not a really cool word, you know. It just depends on how they delivered it. But yeah, especially because the last thing you want to give people the impression of is that you're some kind of overly emotional person that can't take a joke. You know, when we cross over into that world, I think that's when we start to actually lose people. You know, you actually start to like meet the stereotype of the angry vegan. It's okay to be angry, of course, and sometimes we are pissed off. But if you can keep control of it and actually be pissed off and be angry when it's necessary, but actually try and be a little bit more light when it's just fooling around, I think you'll have a lot more success with people, and people will be able to, you know, identify with you a bit more and maybe listen to you a bit more. Again, this depends on how it was delivered. Once again, depends on how it was delivered and how I would say to respond. I'm always told that it was probably my girlfriend who turned me vegan, but actually I was vegan before we met. Yeah, this is a really common one. The guys always assume that you know, if they have a partner, the guys are, if there's a straight guy who is with a girl, obviously a straight guy, the other guys tend to assume it was the girl that turned the guy vegan, because they just associate caring for animals and like giving a shit about others with women, and that's negative. And not giving a shit and just like paying people to kill animals is manly, and that is the right way. So when they find out that you're vegan and your girlfriend's vegan, a lot of them will assume like, oh yeah, this is how you became vegan. Must be, yeah, you did it for a girl. It's like, no, man, like, what the fuck? It's the strangest assumption to make, isn't it? And again, how I would respond if someone said that, oh, did your girlfriend turn you vegan? I'd say no. Like I came to the conclusion by myself. Any rational person that thinks about this will become vegan. The only people that don't are the people who are unreasonable and irrational. It's not about being manly or feminine or male, female, or whatever. It doesn't matter who you are and your orientation and anything like that. It's just that's irrelevant. It's about, can you think rationally or not? Can you be reasonable or not? And if you're reasonable, you'll come to the conclusion that, yes, I should be a vegan. And if you're unreasonable, you'll come to the conclusion of veganism is for pussies or whatever you say next, right? So that's kind of how I would respond to it. Protein, many meat. The classic. I need my protein and many meat. And the really fucked thing about that is the men who will say this kind of thing, like real men eat meat, protein, blah, 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 they're saying it as like I'm a strong, independent man. That's kind of what they're saying. Like, I take care of myself. I know what I'm talking about. I don't let people tell me blah, blah, blah. But the thing is like the media, especially the meat industry, has told you this shit. That's the reason you're repeating it. When men say, yeah, real men eat meat, they weren't born with that belief. It's not like there's a little baby and then they're just like, just one day they're just like, real men eat meat as a little child. It's like, no, that's not how it works. It's the media, it's advertising, and it's probably passed down from their elders, from their, their dads and their granddads, and all from media manipulation, right? So it's kind of ironic that men say this is like, I'm in control of my own life. It's like, well, no, you've been manipulated, mate, with propaganda. It's kind of that isn't that like, yeah, if you want to talk about, being manly, and is it, so you could ask them, do you think it's manly to be manipulated by propaganda, to be indoctrinated? Would you consider that to be a manly thing, or would it be more manly to stand up against that kind of indoctrination? Well, it would be manly to stand against it, obviously, because I'm a big, strong man and I won't let anyone manipulate me. It's like, well, you should be vegan then, because you've been manipulated your whole life by the meat industry. Here in South Africa, it's tradition to have a barbecue, and men think you're being a pussy not eating meat. There we go with the P word again, the pussy word. They love throwing that word around. And yeah, with this again, the barbecue, the men, the barbecue, as if you can't have a barbecue without meat, as if that's not possible. You can't, there's no mock meat, right? And especially there's no vegetables that are good on a barbecue. No, not one. It's not like there is actually a vegetable food on every barbecue in the world, like corn and other things. No, definitely not. It's all meat. And mock meats are definitely, it's not manly enough. The barbecue has to have the cut up pieces of animals that screamed and begged for their lives as they were killed, right? Little defenseless animals. That's what makes it manly, right? It's great, isn't it? It's great. As if making a different choice, like being more empathetic and actually saying, do you know what, lads, let's get some mock meat and some vegetables, and let's still have our barbecue and our beers and whatever else we want to do and all that other shit. Let's get drunk and let's just eat some other food with the same spices, the same flavors, but that none of it required us to kill mostly baby animals, right? Because that wouldn't be manly. You have to killing the baby animals is what makes it manly, obviously. My partner was told that he would lose all his testosterone and muscle tone. Classic, another classic. Where is it? I was going to say, where does it come from? But we know where it comes from. It's just mass indoctrination. Phenomenal. Lose all testosterone and muscle tone. As if that's how it works, right? You eat plants and automatically you lose testosterone and muscle tone. Doesn't matter if you're working out. Doesn't matter if you still get all the nutrition exactly the same as before, or like maybe most people when they're eating plant-based, if they're working out, they end up doing better with nutrition because they pay more attention to it, because they're worried about the plant-based diet because of all this indoctrination telling them it's going to be unhealthy. So they put more effort into it and end up doing like a better job of covering all the nutrition. But yeah, anyway, as if that's going to make you all of a sudden lose all your muscle and testosterone, right? Yeah, you should watch The Game Changers, Alyssa's Spectrum says in the comments. Well, yeah, I mean, that would probably help with this issue. You can go and see a lot of vegan athletes and The Game Changers, plant-based athletes, and just, tell them they're losing all the testosterone and muscle tone. And that's what I would suggest to this person for sure, to watch The Game Changers. I think that's a smart way, smart place for that person to go. The usual BS, not being a real man, etc. It's laughable, really. Yeah. And by the way, these are all different people. This is not like the same person over and over again. So this is like fundamental proof, at least anecdotally, that this is happening, right? That people are going through this. I said before, vegans often get accused of, oh, you make this stuff up. You're making these. No, I'm not making. These are real responses to my Instagram stories from real people. So it's, this is legit. This is really happening. Vegans being told they're not a real man because they won't eat the bodies and secretions of animals that other men fucking killed and took from them. It's just phenomenal. It's so illogical. People ask my male fiance if I emasculated him into becoming vegan. There you go again, like we said earlier, asking, it must have been the girl that convinced you and took away your manlyhood by stopping you from eating dead animals. Because that's manly. Remember, guys, cutting animals up. No, not doing it yourself. Paying someone to cut animals up and eating them is manly. And if you don't do it, it must be the girl that stopped you from doing it. Because you as a man couldn't possibly care, because then you wouldn't be a man anymore, guys. Ordered a vegan pizza and a friend turned to me and said, didn't know you were a girl. This the accusation of like, oh, you're a girl if you're a vegan, or you must be a girl. This is also a common one. There's a meme going around that's like says like, if you got a boyfriend and he's vegan, that's not your boyfriend, it's your girlfriend. And again, breaking this down, a few things. Firstly, what they're saying is there is something wrong with being a girl, which is really, really interesting, because it's like, okay, there's something wrong with being a girl. Why do you think there's something wrong with being a girl? Like, it was a girl, like woman, that brought you into the world. It was a woman that had you inside her fucking womb for 9 months, and now you're here. You're like, didn't know you were a girl, as an insult. Just like process that for a second. Think about how fucked up that is. Like how like, talk about disrespect. Talk about like being, what's the word I'm looking for here? When you don't appreciate what someone's done for you. What is it? Ungrateful. Talk about being ungrateful. Like, think about what that woman did for you, and then you grow up a little bit, you turn into one of these little dickheads going, I didn't know you were a girl. It's so ridiculous. Isn't it? But anyway, as if ordering a pizza with vegan cheese and vegan meat, or just vegan cheese and vegetables, somehow makes you any less of a man. It's just phenomenal. It makes you're not as strong as me because you chose a type of food that didn't involve animals. You soft, you pussy, right? Makes total sense, doesn't it? They say I'm dying due to lack of protein and testosterone. There it is, the testosterone again. I would love to see the testosterone, the blood test results of some of these people. I reckon the thing is, because right, if you're making this kind of comment, right? Okay, let's think about this for a second. If you're making this kind of comment, chances are you are actually more of an emotional person than the vegan. Because like with vegans, right? We talk about veganism and the animals because it's a real issue. It needs real time, and you are justified in being passionate and emotional about it, right? You're justified. You should be passionate and you can be emotional. It is justified. But if you're like saying this kind of shit in response to someone saying you're vegan, like if you're like saying things like, didn't know you were a girl, did you emasculate him? You're not a real man. You got no protein, testosterone. Like this is not something to be emotional about. The only reason you would be being emotional about it is if you were compensating. So then that brings me back to my point. I'd love to see some of these guys get the testosterone tested, and to see what's going on with them, and to see, because they're probably most likely not confident. They're most likely concerned about their own bodies and what's going on in their own bodies, and maybe they're losing some drives, in some things that are quite important to them. So they're lashing out at other people. Because if you were totally comfortable, totally confident in who you are and your self identity, your strength, your manliness, you wouldn't go insulting other people's manliness on a whim just because you hear they're vegan. You wouldn't do it. You'd just be like, this person would say, man would say you're vegan, and you'd say, oh, cool. What made you go vegan? And they'd say, yeah, I did this. And if you didn't want to go vegan, but you weren't insecure about yourself, you'd say, okay, that's good for you, man. Yeah. And you'd move on. You wouldn't be like, you don't get no testosterone though. Oh, I didn't know you were a girl. You wouldn't do that stuff because you would just be like, yeah, you'd be like, all right, because you're confident and comfortable with yourself, right? Lots of different comments, but this one is the stupidest. You can't eat pussy because you're vegan. You see, that's one of those that I mentioned earlier where it's kind of like, it's dumb and it's laughable. Like you can, I mean, it's funny. You laugh at it. You're like, all right. And yeah, they probably don't mean that. But if they did mean that, then you need to have a serious conversation about I don't know what they've been doing to the girls in their lives, but you might want to check on them. If they think that's the same as, actually eating a meal, you might want to check on some of these women they've been dating. I'm a vegan trans man, so some people see that as further evidence that I'm not a real man. This one's really a really tough one. It's really rough because it's like, imagine the mindset you have to be in to go over to somebody who is, let's assume, I don't know if this person's like had any operation or hormone treatment or anything like that, but clearly, like, whatever, they're not happy with how they are, which is why they have transitioned, right? So to go to somebody who is in that place, who clearly is not in a good place, because it's not a good place to be if you are someone who is becoming or wants to be or has become trans. Like you're dealing with a lot of shit, which is why you actually transitioned in the first place, right? So to go to somebody like that who's dealing with that shit and to rub salt in that wound a bit further and be like, additionally, because you're vegan, you're even more not a real man. What kind of person do you have to be to do that? How sad and pathetic must you be to go to somebody, to kick someone when they're already down? Because they've already got shit going on, like I said. And it's clear that they've got shit going on because of what they're doing, the life choice they've made to transition. That alone is tough. And then you're gonna try and make life even worse by saying shit like that. And you have to be a really sad person, don't you? That's what I'm trying to say. Unhappy. It's pitiful. Or if not unhappy, just vindictive and spiteful and just a piece of shit, just an all-round piece of shit, right? And that's what I would say to somebody if I were in that position, if I were a trans man and someone said that to me, I'd say to them, how much of a spiteful piece of shit do you have to be to say something like that to me, knowing what I've gone through, knowing who I am and the shit I've been through? Why would you say something like that? That's what I'd be quite serious on this one because it's a serious thing to say. Like a comment like that and comments similar to that can really, you don't know what it could do to someone, right? It could push somebody to a place where, you wouldn't want to be responsible for pushing them to that place. Trust me. Mates send stupid crap like, if your boyfriend is vegan, that's not your boyfriend, that's your girlfriend. We already mentioned that one earlier, didn't we? We knew that one was coming. It's a meme, and it's like I've seen this, like, it's a relatively harmless meme. To be fair, it's not like the worst in the world. It's just the typical kind of like, oh, I didn't know you were a girl. We've already been through why that's stupid, haven't we? Being called gay for it. Also hear soy boy or pussy a lot in general about not eating meat. The standard ones, gay, right? All in one here, gay, soy boy, pussy, just because you won't eat another animal's flesh. Right. Because it makes sense, doesn't it? It makes complete sense. But yeah, I don't want to repeat myself here. The reason I'm showing these again and again is just to show you how prevalent it really is, like how often it's really happening. Some dude told me, you probably suck dick. And I was like, you wish, homie. That's a good one, you see. This is dealing with that. You're calling them out. You're like, you're projecting. Like, the reason you say like, oh, you probably suck dick, is probably because, probably because you kind of wish I did maybe. You getting into that, huh? I like that. Great response. It was my own dad. He told me to stop being such a girl when I decided to go vegan. It sucks. Stop being such a girl. That's a really common one in England, actually. If you, like, as a man, if you fall over, hurt yourself, or if you, whatever. Yeah, usually if you fall over and hurt yourself, or if you're upset about something happening, then a lot of dads, a lot of other guys, don't be such a girl. Stop being a girl. The girl was like a really common insult back then. And like, I've already been through why it's weird and fucked. It's like, it is messed up. For the reasons I said earlier, I won't repeat myself. Yeah, it makes no sense. It makes no sense for girl to be an insult, does it? get called feminine at work due to giving a shit about things. Yeah, it's such you know, I mean, it makes you so like feminine and so non-masculine to care about things. The only way to be a real man is to not care about anything, right? Real men, you know, the idea of men being protectors, courageous, strong protectors that use their usually superior strength to help others and protect others. No, 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 no. That's not, guys, that's not what it means to be like a manly man. No, no, no. What it really means is to not care about anything at all and go ahead and just use your strength and just to do whatever you want. That's what it really means now, isn't it? That's how it is really, guys. It's no good to go use your superior strength to help others. No, 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 no. You should just not give a shit about anything. That's what it means to be a real man, guys. Just the general comment of you're a beta male and things like that. Yeah, the beta alpha thing has taken off, hasn't it? The beta male, alpha male thing. Like, I've noticed a lot of channels popping up, these kind of male help channels where manly help channels are talking about being an alpha male, being a beta male and stuff like that. I mean, I've not really looked into it so much as to like what the actual definitions of these things are, to be honest. But again, from what I do understand of it, like a beta male is kind of like a pushover, and then alpha, well, beta and alpha, like a beta would be like someone who's pushed around easily and you know, walked all over, whereas an alpha would be somebody who can stand up for themselves, defend the people around them and stuff like that. And again, by that definition, vegans would fall more into the alpha side, because vegans made a decision to stop being cowards and to stand up for something that is important and stand up for others who can't stand up for themselves. So if I'm using that definition, then you know, standing up for animals is very alpha and not a beta thing to do. The beta thing to do would be, as I said earlier, to continue doing what everyone else does just because it's what everyone else does, even though it's causing a lot of harm and it's a horror, it's causing a lot of violence and horror. That would be the beta thing, because you're actually just going with the flow and you're not standing up for something. He told me, grow some balls. You're worried about a cow? Yes, exactly. Exactly. Worrying about this again, worrying about anyone but yourself, and especially worrying about people who are weaker than you and animals that are weaker than you, means you have no balls. Walking into a fucking farm and documenting the inside of that farm and trying to get animals out of that farm, for example, no, that means you're a coward. Like, that's not brave. It's not brave. Standing against your entire family, pretty much probably all of your friends, most of society, and saying, no, I will not do this anymore. Oh, it means you're... That's also totally wimpy, cowardly behavior. See, having some balls and being a strong, you know, person, you're having some balls, that's what it means, by the way. Courageous. Just do what everyone else does. That's what it means to have balls, all right? Whatever the masses are doing, follow. That's what it means to have balls, guys. That's what it means. Ridiculed and ostracized by the group of other men. Better off without them, though. Absolutely. This is a piece of advice I'll give you here. If this is happening to you, you're being constantly and disrespectfully ridiculed and ostracized to the point where it's not a joke, where it's like you are being attacked, like it's just constant. You just need to find yourself some better friends, because the thing is, like, not all guys are like that, but I have had friends like that, male friends like that, and now they're not my friends anymore because of not just this kind of stuff, but because of the way normally guys who do this kind of shit, they're also shit in other ways, right? So they are shit to you for being vegan. They'll most likely be shit to women for being women. They'll most likely be shit to like disabled people for being disabled. These kind of guys tend to be just shit to everyone who's different. So it's not the kind of person that you really want to hang around with anyway. And I, from my experience, this has been how it's been. They're just fuckers. They're just assholes. And you can try and change them. You know, obviously it's better that they hang out with you rather than other assholes. But, you know your limits, right? Know your limits. And if you feel like, nah, I can't deal with this shit, get out of there. And then, you know, it's someone else's problem, right? But yeah, I understand also if you want to stick around and try and make a difference. I mean, these are the kind of people that would need, you know, you to make a difference with. So there is that. Whenever I enter the room, any guy who knows I'm vegan instantly gets their ego boosted because they know because they know taking the piss out of the vegan gets them social brownie points because they're insecure. Definitely. Definitely. I reckon this happens a lot with groups of guys, like friendship groups with guys in, because they know the vegan's the easy target, right? The easy target every time. So they know that if they rip on the vegan, 99% of the people are like, the other 99 people in the room out of 100 aren't vegan. So they get all that support. And actually, you can see social media pages also do this. You'll see that a lot of social media influencers and channels and different things, they'll do an anti-vegan post just because they know if they do that, most people are going to be on their side, right? They'll come over because they will be, the majority agrees, or the majority doesn't like to be told that they should change what they're doing. You get me? So when they say, yeah, here's why vegans are blah, 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 and they start ripping on vegans, most people run to support because they're like, yes, make me feel good about my shitty choices. Make me feel good about what I'm doing to animals. So this is absolutely correct what this person is saying. And you see it a lot on social media. Best way to respond to it is maybe just, when I've had this before myself, I've actually just called it out. And I've just said like, oh, what a surprise. You're all coming after the vegan. What big surprise. Because there's nothing else you can do. And I'll say, if you're going to do it, if you're going to come for me, at least can you try something new? Right? I mean, yeah, vegans eat grass, lol. I mean, come on, I've been vegan for a long time now. If you can come up with something better, like that you came up with yourself, I'll laugh with you. If not, it's just kind of boring. And it's like overdone. It's been done to death. So just move on. That's pretty much what I say with this kind of thing. Some people online have connected to the fact that I am not straight to eating plant-based, especially soy. I guess this is actually a gay person, and that someone's claiming that the reason they're gay is because they eat soy. I think that's what they're saying. Good one. So yeah, if you are someone that wants to become gay, then all you got to do is eat plant-based, and then apparently you can be gay. They will make you gay because that's how it works, right? I don't know if you realize this. Being gay is something that you can just do. It can happen. You can do it with what you eat. It can change your brain chemistry, right? Certain foods can turn you into well, all of a sudden you go from looking at a girl, or if you're a guy looking at a girl and being like, oh wow, she's hot, and then you eat some soy, and then you're like, she just becomes less and less attractive the more soy you eat. And then all of a sudden you're just kind of like looking at your guy mate next to you like, oh damn, he's looking good all of a sudden. And after a few hours on the soy, oh, if you eat meat, then if you're like, oh, but eat some meat, and then it goes the other way. The more meat you eat, you just go back over here and like, oh, actually no, the girl's looking better. That's how it works, guys. That's how it works. Actually, shit, we found the solution. We found a solution here, right? So, all these like hardcore religious groups that are trying to get people to pray the gay away, those hardcore things they do, like cognitive behavioral therapy, shit like that, trying to turn people straight. Did they not realize all you got to do is just feed them loads of pieces of dead animals? That's it. And then that will make them straight. That's how it works, everybody. This is a scientific fucking miracle right now. We've just figured it out. All these hardcore, mainly Christian groups, we've just given them what they needed to sort out all these sinners. They can save all these people from eternal damnation. We figured it out, guys. We've just figured it out. One of my school friends kept saying, have we been through this? Are we back to the beginning? Yeah, we are. That's great. So now we can take a little break. And before we get to the questions, we can have a look through the comments. Is there anything here? Have any of you guys sent over any Streamlabs or any super chats or anything like that I've missed that I need to respond to? Not yet. Guys, I hope you're enjoying. But if you do have any questions, hey, send them over in the Streamlabs. Send them over in a super chat. I will answer them. I will answer them right now. All right? So let's have a look. We've got some things coming up. What have we got to come up? We've got questions related to these that people sent over to me from Instagram, and we've also got some meat flakes, because like I said, what stream could possibly be complete without a section to have a look at some little meat flakes? That is the question, isn't it? Soy is magic, Alice's Spectrum says. It is magic. It's phenomenal what it could do. It can turn you gay. You can be gay. Did you want to be a member of the LGBT community? Eat soy. That's what they should do. They should do advertisements for soy with that. That would be great, wouldn't it? Oi. All right then. There's lots of meat flakes in the comments, hey? Don't feed the meat flakes, guys. Don't give them any attention. All right. Has Vegan says vegan for life. Thank you so much for the super chat, Has Vegan. Really appreciate that. Thank you for your support. And if you have a question as well, don't forget, put it in there when you send it over and I'll answer the question. But for now, I'll read it out. Vegan for life. Awesome. Love it. All right. Let's have a look at these questions, shall we? Let's take a look at some of the questions people have sent through. Boom. Do you think it is due to lack of empathy or just because they do not want to change their values? I think it could be a mixture of both. I think it's that they want to convince you they have a lack of empathy because they don't want to change their values. And maybe they tell themselves, maybe they push their empathy down. So they do actually have a lack of it, but it doesn't mean that they are lost and they could never have it. It means that maybe they had it at one point, pushed it down because they don't want to change, I'd say it's very common that people don't want to change, so they act in these horrible, non-empathetic ways and like they don't give a shit. But I am silently optimistic. Silently optimistic makes no sense because then you wouldn't be optimistic, you'd be fucking silent. Quietly optimistic, I'd say that a lot of people don't want to change, and that is why they don't show you any empathy. But they have it. They just really don't want to show you it because they know if they show you it, the floodgates open, and then after that, they know they won't be able to go back. And they don't want to change, so they don't want to give you that. They don't want the floodgates to open because I've cracked open a few of these kind of these mentalities of men in conversations in the street and conversations in other places where it begins, where it's kind of like there's a bit of a bravado you've got to work with, I find, with a lot of guys. And I'm lucky in that, like, how to explain this? I'm lucky in that a lot of guys, I think, see me as quite like, because I'm quite direct and I swear and I say what I think, and it's like, they see me as kind of like, I don't know what the word is. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but they see me a certain way. And then they don't expect it when I actually talk about animals in an empathetic way. And I feel like it catches some people off guard. And it's a good thing because then they also open up because we already built that kind of rapport from both having a bit of this like, raw, manly man bravado kind of thing. So I find for me, when I've had guys kind of cracked open that and let it show a bit of empathy, they tend to also show a lot after that. So it takes a little bit of like, it's like picking a lock sometimes with people. But once you kind of get in there and actually they stop trying to bullshit you into thinking that there's some monster. They're not a monster. Once you get past that barrier, people tend to open up and be empathetic and kind and nice and talk about animals in a good way and not just in like a horrible kind of, they're just resources, fuck them way, which a lot of guys especially tend to go to first. So yeah, there's a lot to that question. A lot to that question. But I guess the short answer is, yeah, I think most guys do have empathy. They're just conditioned to not to show it. And with a bit of time, you can pull it out. And I think once you've pulled it out, you'll get more. I don't, that was the wrong terminology. But yeah, you're with me. You get me. How would you go about putting someone in their place if you don't appreciate the jokes? This is a tricky one because if you go in hard and you're like, hey, I don't fucking appreciate your jokes, that becomes the joke, right? Especially with a group of guys, you become the butt of the joke because you become the joke itself because you're upset. That's a really, really tricky place. And I've been there before, but growing up, like I said, when I was younger, I didn't have any control over my emotions. I was a very, very, very emotional person when I was growing up. I mean that as in like angry emotion, not cry emotion. I was just very like, I'd lash out verbally and a lot about being a vegetarian or people like make fun of me being veggie. I would get very upset and straight away. And then they just laugh more. So it's tricky. More commonly, like these days, I said it earlier, I'll say it again. What I tend to do is if I'm not appreciating the jokes, as in if they're shit jokes and they're not funny and they're just annoying, then I just say that. I just say, like, hey, these are pretty shit jokes. Like they're not funny. They're just kind of the run of the mill, kind of boring. I'm not really. I mean, you guys might find it funny, but just bear in mind, I've heard this a million times. Think about that. Do you want to be like everyone else, or can you come up with something a bit more unique? What is it going to be? And when I've said this, it usually kills the mood a little bit because people kind of went from making fun, and then they kind of go, oh, right, okay, you kind of killed it. But it's good. It kind of stops it. And it encourages people to be more creative. Like, I've had some of the best vegan jokes at me after I've said that. Like, I've had some, like, where I actually end up laughing because it's funny. It's not, it becomes less insulting and it becomes more creative. So that's fine. So that's kind of what's happened to me before. So that's how I would do it. You don't need to put them in their place necessarily. You just kind of say, like I said, it's not really that funny, kind of boring. I'm bored of it. I hear this shit every day. Can you do something a bit more creative, or is this all you've got? And that's it. This is all you've got, and it's shit. How can a vegan man date a non-vegan feminist woman without being patriarchal? If the patriarchal thing here, if you mean like that as in being patriarchal just means explaining something, then you're not being patriarchal. Like it's not mansplaining. If you know more about something than somebody else and you want to convince them to stop doing what they're doing because it's harmful, and you know more about that thing, it doesn't matter if they're a different gender to you. It doesn't suddenly become mansplaining or womansplaining or whatever, splaining. It becomes you trying to help animals or trying to help whichever group by encouraging someone close to you to change what they're doing so they can help join you in helping that group. So yeah, there's nothing patriarchal about a man explaining something to a woman that the woman doesn't know about, or worse, that the woman doesn't want to know about. You don't just get to pull this patriarchy card every time a man tries to tell you something you don't want to hear. Right? It's not how it works, okay? It's not how it works. It's not mansplaining if you can't handle the truth, and the man explaining it to you is not going to let you run away from it like a fucking coward. It's not mansplaining, all right? Face the shit and stop hiding behind this, that it's the patriarchy to try and get your way out of like dealing with, being a responsible person. You need personal responsibility. You don't get to just abandon personal responsibility every time a man says something you don't like, right? So that's what I would say to that. But in a practical sense, though, okay, yeah, a practical answer to this question. That's the kind of like what I'm saying. The theory behind it is that in practice, don't be an asshole, obviously. Ask open questions, ask a lot of questions, try to understand where this person is and what you think, adjust your approach to them, but make sure it's unapologetic and that you represent the animals in the best way. So as in, no, don't be saying, oh, you should reduce eating meat. You should take it slow, take it easy. Like, no, this is life or death. This is the only decision any of us will probably ever make in our lives that results in life or death. So treat it with the severity it deserves, but, don't be a douche about it. Like, explain and be open and take it slow with the person and try and understand them on a one-to-one basis. And ask lots of open questions. What do you know about meat, dairy, eggs, leather? What do you know about fur? What do you know about animals? How do you feel about animals? How do you feel when you see animals being killed? Have you seen that on YouTube and Facebook and stuff, Instagram? How do you feel about it? You don't like it? What do you think you don't like about it? The violence? What do you think we can do about it if none of us like this? What can we do about it? What, do we need to eat meat? No. Do we need to eat any animal products? Maybe. What do you think we need to eat? That kind of conversation is good. Keep it low key, keep it calm. There you go. Do you think this anti-vegan caveman bravado stems from insecurity? I think I was pretty clear about that earlier. I think a lot of it stems from insecurity. A lot of men these days don't know if they're coming or going. They don't know what the fuck is going on. A society has changed and got to a point where social media has fucked everything up. in a lot of ways, hasn't it? The internet has really kind of changed everything. So I feel like the society's rules of between men and women and you know, everyone, it's so confusing now. So a lot of men and women and people just don't know their place anymore. They don't know where they fit in. A lot of people are struggling with that. So I think a lot of this caveman bravado shit comes from that, like not really being sure who you are and what you should stand for, and like, you know, these old ideals of being a man have been kind of, they're being tarnished now. You're being told that the things that make a man a good man or whatever are now toxic, and things that you thought were good in the past, like being chivalry and caring and protective, and like now you're being told these are all toxic behaviors and signs of your toxic masculinity and things. So I think men are very confused now, and I think that some of this comes out when they hear about vegans and they don't understand this and why people are vegan. So they don't really understand themselves either. So it's just like lashing out. I think a lot of the issues we see with like communities of men now are because of what I've just said. Not just the way they act about vegans, but also the way they act about other things as well. I think there's just so much confusion and an identity crisis with a lot of men now. I feel like what we really need to do is reinstall boundaries, especially with young kids, young boys. I mean, this whole live stream is focused on men, all right? Other people I don't know. I'm talking about men specifically. I think what a lot of boys maybe aren't getting now, and young men are not getting specific boundaries and really important lessons these lessons they are getting are being torn apart by the rest of society, which is telling them that, you know, a lot of things they thought were good or bad and stuff. So I think that people are just confused. I think a lot of men are confused. And it's easy to understand why. Shit is confusing, isn't it, these days? A lot of shit is confusing. We got a few super chats or Streamlabs donations. So let's take a quick look at those. We got Boris says this. Let's pop it up on the screen. Is it going to come up? Hey, get up there. What the fuck? Anyway, it says, animal rights. Animals have the right to taste good. Unfortunately, that was me until a couple of years ago. Keep up the great work. It's pretty crazy, huh? That some people, you know, have been through that so long ago. And not so long ago even. Okay, wait a minute. There we go. I fixed it, Boris. There he is. Yeah, I'll pull it up again. So yeah, as I was saying, it's pretty crazy that to come from that to this, to becoming now vegan and coming from a place like that, it's incredible. So many people said like, oh, we're once vegan. We're once saying it would be so hard to become vegan. They were saying I would never become vegan. That's what I mean. I would never become vegan is what they were saying. Things like that the anti vegan man stuff, and then they become vegan themselves. Thank you to Def R for the contribution, the super chat. Appreciate it. Remember, you can also ask a question with those. And Sharon also donated $5 and says, "Hi David, loving the show. What is your best response for bacon and it's proven plants feel pain?" The bacon one, I don't even give it like a proper response anymore. I'm just like, I just respond something like tofu or oh Satan though. Or bacon spice though, because you get bacon spice now, can't you, to put on top of other food? Bacon spice though, made out of plants. I don't even give it a proper response. Just fuck around with it. And it's proven plants feel pain. It's just fundamentally not true. So there's a few. If someone's saying it to you in front of you, like it's proven plants feel pain, you ask the question, okay, that's interesting. Where did you hear that? Now, where they probably heard that was from some study done a long time ago. Like, not that long ago, it doesn't matter. But the point is, there was a study done where they showed that plants respond to stimuli and music and other forms of stimuli, and they do certain things dependent on that stimuli. And they think that makes the plant feel pain. But the thing is, it's not still. They still don't feel pain. They don't have the necessary things that an organism needs to feel pain. For example, this is a phone. Yes, my phone. It responds to stimuli. See that? or when I just do that, it knows it's being moved around. It's a gyroscope inside. So it recognizes that it's flat, it comes up, or the button, for example. But my phone doesn't have inside it what is necessary for it to feel pain. All it does is responds to stimuli and reacts to stimuli. Now, obviously, that's mechanical, but plants are biological, so there's a big difference. But it's still fundamentally the same thing. The plants don't have what it is required to feel pain. They only have what is required to respond to stimuli. Otherwise, you'd also have to explain why an organism that physically cannot escape from anything, rooted in the ground, what evolutionary advantage would it have for it to feel pain? The answer is there isn't one, because it doesn't feel pain. Plants don't feel pain. Now that's like, obviously, I feel like that is an answer that is sufficient, but depending on the person, you're gonna fall into some shit. Who knows, right? But that is the answer to that question that covers most of the bases. Or you could just tell them, like, do you really believe that? I don't believe you believe that. And even if you do believe that, being vegan kills less plants. Animals eat more plants than a human does. And there are more animals than humans on the planet. And we're breeding more and more of them and killing them. So if you care about plants, eat plants. Don't eat animals who ate more plants than you, and the animal was only bred because you paid for them to be bred. And you're responsible for those plant deaths and the animal death. So just eat the plants yourself. That's another answer. There you go. Thank you so much for the donation. And thank you also to DJ Lernal for your donation too. With no question though. Guys, send some questions. Thank you so much. Let's jump back in. As someone who's competing with bigger, more confident guys, what do I really have to offer? So that's a kind of good question. And it's sad that you feel that way, that you're competing with bigger, more confident guys, and that means you don't have something to offer. The reason I say it's a good question is because I think a lot of men may feel that way too, but don't say it out loud, right? That they feel like they don't have anything to offer in a world of big, muscular, confident men. But the thing is, firstly, let's take something here. These big, muscular, confident men, yeah, okay, they're big and muscly for sure, but the confidence, it doesn't always mean that they are genuinely confident people. Now, like, the reason I'm saying that is just bear in mind that someone who appears to have all of their shit together may not have it together completely. It's not like they are A+ and you're like F, and you don't compare. Chances are you probably have a lot more in common with them than you think. Chances are that the things that you worry about, they worry about. The things that you're self-conscious about, they're self-conscious about. That's probably why these big guys have gone to the gym in the first place. So firstly, don't be looking at it as if like they are like the best and you're the worst. It's most likely that you have a shitload in common with these guys. So just bear that in mind. Now, second thing, if you're talking about trying to date women, and what you're saying is like, I can only really speak, for this myself. I can't speak for like what it's like to date men or whatever, right? So I'm going to assume this person's talking as a man competing with other men for women, all right? You've got to also consider that it's not just like a given that every girl you meet just wants to get with some big, confident dude, because it's just not the case. It's firstly, although looks are the important thing to get you in the door with somebody, i.e. somebody has to find you attractive to talk, to build some kind of relationship, most likely. It's not the be-all, end-all. I think what most people want, at least what I from my experience, is it doesn't matter if you're big and muscly or small and skinny. If you're somebody who looks after yourself, takes care of yourself, takes care of your health, and exudes that kind of, that care is out there. Like you've made an effort. You're looking after yourself. You're not letting yourself slouch or become, I don't know, like if you look like a lazy bum, you don't look after yourself, then you might find it more difficult to meet people who want to talk to you, because if you don't look after yourself, how are you supposed to look after somebody else? How are you supposed to convince somebody that you're a good person to be with if you can't even convince yourself? So the first thing you've got to do, in my opinion, is sort your shit out. Like, are you looking after yourself? Do you, if you're not, then do it. Like, eat well, eat properly, make sure you're cleaning, hygiene. this kind of stuff, basic shit, get that down first of all, I'd say, because I'll give you some confidence. And the next thing about being confident or not, as I said, if you see most men, you see that like exude confidence, it's usually kind of compensating for the fact they're not very confident. Trust me, I'm speaking from experience. And one of the most anxious, second guessing people you'll ever meet. But people don't believe me when I say that, because like I'm sat here doing a YouTube video live with you. There's so many people that wouldn't dare to do this. But that doesn't mean I'm more confident than them. It just means that I am more outwardly confident because inwardly I'm not that confident. You see the point? So it's more like there is some compensating there. So just bear that in mind, that most of these dudes you see that seem super confident, they're probably not. All you need to be confident enough to do is to talk to somebody. That's literally all you need. And to be interested in someone else and ask them questions and learn and be open and be a good guy. Don't be an asshole. And you will meet somebody who matches the things, matches you. And that's as simple as it'll be. There's really not that much more to it. It's not about being some alpha dickhead who just treats girls like shit. And you'll probably, don't get me wrong, you'll probably end up being very successful with women on a short-term basis doing that. But you're not gonna, you'll be an asshole. You'll be a horrible person. And a lot of these alpha dickheads do that and get what they want and move on, but leaving like a trail of destruction in the where they've been. You don't want to be that. So I guess in conclusion to this big question, I've tried to answer it as best I could. In the conclusion to this, don't worry about people who are like bigger, more confident than you. Chances are they're having the same problems as you. Take care of yourself, look after yourself, make sure your health is on point, because then clearly you'll be able to look after someone else if you can look after yourself. Or at least you'll be able to care for somebody else. You need to care for yourself first. And all you need is the confidence to just talk to people. And then you'll end up vibing with somebody, and that's it. That's all you need. You need the confidence just to talk. You don't need to do anything more than that. I hope that's clear. Hope that's useful. No questions, but can you find me a vegan man? Thank you. Yes, the guy in the last post. There you go. We found them. No, this actually, a lot of men and women sent me this, saying I'm looking for a vegan man, or I'm looking for a vegan woman, or men looking for a vegan man. Actually, was quite common as well. It just goes to show that there are a lot of people out there who are looking for each other, but they're not connecting. They're just not finding each other for whatever reason. And in my opinion, the best way to find other vegans that you might vibe with and get into something romantic with, like a relationship, I think the best, in my opinion, best relationships and strongest relationships can be formed through the common interest of wanting to defend the animals, from wanting to defend those that are, not able to defend themselves against people, right? It's really powerful, a powerful way to meet people. Shouldn't be the reason you do activism though, right? Don't go to activism to meet people and try and get with people. That's fucked up. But just bear in mind that I think there's a stupid number here. It's something like 80-something% of married people met each other through work. Now, maybe you don't, but you want someone vegan. So if you're doing activism, you're going out and working with activists, that's also work. You're spending a lot of time with these people. You're going to go out on a weekly basis and you're going to do some work in the street with them maybe. It's only natural that you could end up meeting your future husband or wife doing that. So that's how I would recommend, if you want to meet other vegans that you could build a really strong relationship with, that's the way to do it, in my opinion. Get out, start doing activism, put yourself out there in vegan groups, activist groups, go and do work. And through working together, you'll learn a lot more about people than you would just hanging out and chatting shit. Working with people, you learn who they really fucking are when you're working with them, trust me. And that's that's where you can figure out, do you actually match? It's a great way to actually figure that out. Confidence speaking about animal rights with non-vegans. I guess this person's asking how to be confident in doing it. Well, I think if you've never done it before, ever, and you don't know what you're talking about, maybe hold back, right? Don't just run in if you don't know what you're doing, because then you might just end up confusing people and not being too effective. Do your background, do your research. Watch some videos by Earthling Ed. I would recommend. Download Earthling Ed's ebook, which is free. Just type in Google Earthling Ed ebook. I think once you've read his ebook and watched a few videos and watched a few other outreach videos, I mean, YouTube is full of them. I think then you just practice it with someone, maybe practice it in your head, make it your own. Like, you get the logic behind the questions and the answers, get the logic, and then make it you, because you're a person. Don't just copy other people, but definitely take influence from other people who've been doing it for a long time, and then make it your own. And once you've made it your own words, once you've actually digested, understood, and you're able to reciprocate, is the word of reciprocate? No, reproduce. You're able to reproduce, but in your own way, the logic that you've learned, then you'll be confident. 100%. 100%. Maybe take Ed's ebook and rewrite it in your own words. I think then you would definitely have a lot of confidence doing that. That would be a really good way to get confident. We have a question from Roger. Best response to B12? I mean, do you mean like the best response to what about B12 though? Well, there's a few elements to this. So first off, you can take a B12 supplement, and a lot of foods are supplemented with B12 already. For example, most breakfast cereals, vegan or non-vegan, have B12 fortified in them. So it's not like it's like, oh, supplements are bad. It's like, well, no, the breakfast cereal you're eating every morning has a B12 supplement in it. So, shut the fuck up. Next up is that because B12 is very scarce in general, like in the natural world, now it's scarce, and because of the disgusting way that animal agriculture works, and that the animals are not getting enough B12 just from living in the way they live in those places. So they supplement the animal feed with B12, and even at times inject them with B12. So the chances are the people who are not vegan are probably already taking B12 supplements through their food already, but it's supplemented, right? It's fortified or supplemented. So basically just take the supplement directly, take a plant-based B12 supplement directly, and don't kill animals for the supplement. It's that simple. Supplements aren't evil. Supplements have saved like countless lives over the years, and so many people take them before they're vegan anyway. Like, there's so many people who are not vegan who take them, but for some reason they suddenly become evil when a vegan says take them. No, it's ridiculous. There's so many things that we do now that make our lives easier. We have electricity, the internet, phones. All of these things make our lives easier, but they're all completely unnatural, completely things that are like not suitable for us, if you know what I mean. They're not good for our eyes. They're not good for our minds. They're not good for our the psychology, the mental. But we do it anyway because we've moved on. They make our lives convenient, whatever. This is one of those things. A B12 supplement makes our life very convenient, but it also makes the lives of those animals fucking more convenient in that they don't end up in a slaughterhouse because you've paid for them to be there because you wanted some fucking B12. It's insane. So just think about it like that. That's how, the response I would give is the first one. Follow up with the second one if there's an argument, I would say. All right. Let's move on. Let's get to the next question. How to ask a vegan girl I met online for a date. What if she's just admiring my content and work? Well, that's there's no perfect answer to this, to be honest. It also depends. I think, okay, I would say the best way to do it, in my opinion, there's no right answer to this. You're going to get a million different ways. I'd say just to be straight and direct with this. You could end up having a really awkward situation if you're not direct, and you could end up in a weird kind of area where the girl doesn't know that you actually like her, and you end up being like friend zoned because you just said, hey, you could say, hey, like, would you be interested in hanging out sometime? And then it's not clear for the girl, like, do you mean in like I don't know, like a date, or do you mean in a friend way? So maybe you could just literally just inbox, if you've never spoken before, maybe have a conversation before you launch that. Just, hey, how's it going? I've seen your posts, whatever, like you seem pretty cool, like, or whatever. I like what you're doing on Instagram, whatever it is. Maybe talk for a few days, maybe even a bit longer. And then at some point, maybe say, hey, look, so I think you seem really cool. Would you be interested in going for a drink sometime? Would you be interested in meeting up sometime? I think once you've talked for a little bit and then you make it like kind of clear, I think that's pretty clear that you're interested. if it's something like, hey, would you like to hang out and so, you know, I don't know, sometime, I feel like that's a bit more casual. I think if it's like, would you like to meet sometime? Maybe it's more serious. But I mean, this is subjective as well. It's subjective. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Or you could talk for a little bit and then you could just literally say, like, could I ask you out on a date? Like, I think I've been enjoying talking with you. I think you're cool. Would you ever consider going on a date with me? Could I take you out on a date sometime? Could I take you out on a date next week? Maybe you could be super direct and just go for it rather than being subtle. Depends on you, depends on the girl, depends on the situation. Can't give you a straight answer to that, but there you go. You've got a few options. Try one of them. Whichever one most fits you, give it a go, right? Give it a go. Oh, and one more thing. Bear in mind that don't be a dick if she says no. If she says no, rejection sucks. Don't be a dick about it. Move on. You'll be fine. All right? Everything will be fine. There'll be somebody else that more matches you, gets your vibe. It's not the end of the world if she says no. It's not the end of the world if she says, fuck you, you creep. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't matter. If it all goes tits up, it doesn't matter. If it's just a straight, no, I'm not interested, it doesn't matter. Chill out. Move on. Don't let it ruin your day. Where to socialize to meet other vegans to date? Well, I said earlier, I don't think going to activism to socialize is good, but I think doing activism is a good way to meet like-minded people and get to know who they really are. So I'd say go and do activism, animal rights activism for the animals, obviously because we need you to fucking fight for the animals, and because you will build a great community from it, which will help you stay strong and keep moving forward. If you want to socialize though, pure socializing, well, after the activism events, usually the activists go out for food and drinks and stuff like that. So yeah, you could totally do that. Anyway, socializing will be fine. Or if you just want to literally socialize, you could do like vegan food fairs. Excuse me a minute. That was brutal. You could do vegan food fairs, vegan food festivals. You could arrange a meetup in your city or town. Hey, vegan meetup on the meetup app. Like, come, let's all meet up. Let's hang out. You could arrange a potluck where everyone brings food and you just hang out and just like invite the public to wherever it is outside. Maybe better right now with all the restrictions and stuff like that. They're really good. Potlucks are a great way to meet people. I've heard a lot of people met their partners through potlucks and stuff. So I'd give that a go. Mark has made a contribution. Let's just jump that. There it is. Thank you so much, Mark. Says, brilliant commentary, David. As always, thank you. Thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate your contribution, your donation. And remember, guys, if you do have questions, I'm still open to them. And you just got to send them over with a Streamlabs donation or super chat. The reason I'm doing that is because I have a lot to get through today. And the chat is also going off. You guys are having some kind of weird debate there about some shit. I have no idea what you're talking about, so I'm not even going to try. I'm just going to keep on going. I'm going to keep on going. All right. What if you're a man with no vegan male friends? Great question. I think maybe many men might be in that position where all their mates are not vegan and maybe the only vegans they know are girls. And that's totally cool. There's nothing wrong with that. But it does suck. It's not like it's wrong. It can suck though, because sometimes you want to have a guy talk. You want to talk about shit that only a guy would go through, like and you want to talk to another dude about it. And you can't. It might be related to veganism, and you can't because, and you don't get me wrong. Girls can totally help, and you can definitely have. I've had some of my best mates are girls, not guys, and vegans. So don't get me wrong. It's totally feasible to have this type of chat with girls too. But there is something, I don't know, special about having a guy mate, a close guy mate who's also vegan, who just gets it, gets what it's like to be a dude, and gets the veganism all together. It feels really good. So it sucks if you don't have that. And I guess the question is here, what if you're in that position? Well, yeah, it sucks. I'm with you. It sucks. But you can meet dudes. You can meet guys. Like, you just got to, it sounds weird. I'm telling like a straight guy how to meet guys. I assume straight anyway. But anyway, it's just the same way you try to go out and meet anyone, really. You've got to put yourself in places where you're more likely to bump into people that you're going to get on with. And those places, they're vegan too. So where are vegans hanging out on a regular basis where you can communicate and get on with each other and see if you vibe anyone, it comes back to it again. Activism. That is on a weekly basis. People meet up to go out and fight for the animals together, doing outreach or doing direct action or doing a stall or a food thing, or, you know, they do potlucks. They invite non-vegans for the potluck, and you've got to get involved in these communities. That is how you're going to start bumping into people who are just like you or similar to you, who you might want to get into a relationship with, or you might want to just become best mates with. If you don't put yourself out in these places, it's not going to happen, and you're going to be stuck with only online vegan friends, right? If you don't put yourself out there, that's what's going to happen. You're just going to be stuck with online vegan friends, and there's nothing wrong with online vegan friends either. I've got loads of online vegan friends, but it's nice to know people in face to face as well. It's nice to have it's nice to have like actual real life friends, IRL people. I'm gay and vegan, double niche. Where do I start searching for a boyfriend? Grindr. No, I'm joking. Don't do that. I've heard bad things about Grindr. But no, vegan gay communities, I actually don't know much about. Unsurprisingly, I've never looked into it. I've never needed to. But I know they exist. I know there are like gay vegan Facebook groups, LGBT vegan Facebook groups. So that would be a good place to start, maybe. Maybe look at if there are any meetups in your city or town or your nearest city, specifically like gay vegan meetups. Or I mean, I'm sure if you know about LGBT meetups, but yeah, obviously, how many of them are going to be vegan? You don't know. So that's why it's good to try and find some specific LGBT or gay vegan meetups. And if there isn't one though, if there is no meetup happening, if there's no gay vegan Facebook group in your city or town, well, the solution is you've got to make it. You can be the founder of that. You could be the founder of this awesome new event, this awesome new group in your town or city or your nearest city. How cool would that be? And that would be a great way to do two things at once. You would have a cool new community for vegans to connect, who are members of like a specific demographic, like LGBT. And you would be helping the animals there because the support would help. And you might end up meeting somebody that you want to be with, or at least make new friends. And community support is great. It's great for that. It really helps you to stay strong. So go for it. That's what I would say. Absolutely go for it. Will a vegan diet increase estrogen levels like eating tofu? No, it's pseudoscience. It won't happen. It's phytoestrogen. It's not the same as estrogen. Doesn't have the same effect on the body. So that's that. Yeah, soy, it's not going to make you more feminine. It's not going to make you grow boobs. If soy made you grow boobs, then trans women would be sorted. There would be no need to go and have surgery, would there? But that's not the case. And actually, not just trans women who have small boobs would be cramming down the soy and be like, yeah, it's going to make me grow. It doesn't work like that. It's not how it is. It's really not the case. If it were the case, like I said, a lot of people's self-identity issues would be solved pretty damn quickly in saving $50,000 and just buy some tofu instead. But it's not it, all right? It's not it. So no, it's fine. Overconsumption of anything is going to cause you problems. Don't get me wrong, but it won't. You need to eat a lot. Okay, you need to eat like a lot for it to have like a negative impact on your health. I can't remember what the study was. They did something where they like showed there was like some study. They did it with animals. It was a nasty study. They fed them or force fed them like a ridiculous amount of soy, and they saw some bad things off the back of it. But it was so much more than any human would ever even get close to eating. So, all right. Can a true vegan date a non-vegan animal abuser? All right, this is the one that I think a lot of people are wanting to know the answer to, right? Being like this true vegan thing is really shit. First of all, I don't like this vegan Olympics thing. This you're not a real vegan if you do this. You're not a true vegan if you do this. I'd say if you're a vegan and you are dating someone who's not a vegan, I can imagine that being very, very difficult. I can imagine that sucking. And in the past, I've said that I find it fucked up. As in for me, it's fucked up. Like I don't think I could do it. I mean, I don't see how I could be close to someone who, for no other reason than they're selfish, bullshit is putting animals through all that shit that I'm trying to stop. Like, how could I share my most intimate moments with someone like that? The answer is I could not do it. I couldn't do it. No, I couldn't do it. I would never do that. It's this exactly the same as if somebody, let's use a less obvious example. If somebody is working every day to save children from some fucking horrible exploitative industry, right? Which this exists, these industries exist. And the person they're dating pays into that industry, knows about it, and pays into it because it makes their life more convenient. Would you expect those two people to date? No. So then why is it expected for a vegan to date a non-vegan? Or why do people get fucking weird when vegans say, I wouldn't date a non-vegan? It's exactly the same. So can a vegan do it? Of course a vegan can do it. Like, you can do it. And some people put the morals and their ethics aside to be with someone for whatever reason. That's their call. It's their call. Yeah. That's none of my business. It's none of anybody's business. If they're enabling them, then it's not good, is it? It's like, if they're telling them like some shit, like if a vegan is ever enabling anyone to continue abusing animals, then they're a fucking coward. All right, I'm sorry, that's the way it is. If you're enabling them, as in if you're saying like, don't worry about me, it's you eat your meat, you know, I'll eat my thing. Then no, that's fucking bullshit. Whether it be with your wife, your husband, or your partner, or just your best mate, or anyone, right? That's it doesn't matter if you're together or not. That's some bullshit. But anyway, answering the question, can a true vegan? Of course they can date. They can date whoever the fuck they want. But I wouldn't personally do it. And we are back around. All right, guys, you have some good news for you. The meat flakes are coming soon. Who's ready for some meat flakery? It's the second meat flakes of the week. How's that? You get 2 this week. How lucky are you? You get 2 meat flake sessions. So if you're enjoying this, make sure you hit the like button right now and subscribe. If you're also, I see there were some trolls in here, right? If you're in here and trolling, hit the subscribe button. You can troll every video. You're going to hit that and turn the notifications on so you don't miss it. You can come in here and troll every time. How about that? How about that? And remember, I'm still open to answering questions on being a vegan man. And like, you know, if you've got questions about being a man, being a vegan. And if you want to keep it anonymous, you just put in the message at the beginning of the contribute of the super chat or the Streamlabs, right? The super chat, you can't hide it. But if you send me it through Streamlabs, put it at the beginning, Anon, A-N-O-N, so I know, and I won't reveal your name. I'll just read out what you said. If you've got a question, you don't want people to know you asked it, just do it that way, all right? But that's still open. Whilst I'm giving you the chance, let's crack into the meat flakes and we can come back to questions if there are any later, all right? So let's take a look. What have we got? Oh, first of all, let me explain. I got these meat flakes from a plant-based news post where they were talking about the masculinity and stuff like that, about being a vegan, but vegan men. And there were meat flakes in the comments, obviously. So this was only like 2 days ago that they posted this, so it was great timing with this live stream. So let's have a look at what they've been saying. Here we got one from Ruben. Seeing that veganism is mostly followed by women than men, giving advice on what you feel to be masculine is such bad advice. The most masculine men you'll ever meet eat what they want when they want, meat included. Class. So Jeffrey Dahmer, the serial killer who ate his victims, he is the most masculine man out there. He is what you want to be. Ruben, he wants to be just like Jeffrey Dahmer, right? Jeffrey Dahmer was a male, masculine, manly man hero. We should all aspire to be like him. He's what an inspiration. He should be on Instagram influencer. Eating whatever he wants, right? He was like, I want to fucking eat people. I'll eat people. The manliest of men. Ruben. And what's this like saying? Giving advice on what you feel to be masculine is such bad advice because lots of more vegans are women. Wait, so because more vegans happen to be women, vegan men can't give their opinion on masculinity. How does that make any sense? What? It's like there being more women present doesn't make the man's opinion change. It's not like he becomes it's not like if I'm in a room and there's 99 women and I'm the only man, my opinions don't become less valid. My opinions on being a man don't become less valid because there are more women in the room. Do you get what I mean? This logic makes no sense at all. Philip Boots. This is heavily ironic considering that the majority of vegan men would get folded like an omelette by the average meat-eating male. Yeah, that's totally it, right? It doesn't matter, the level of training that people do, and if they're doing resistance training, or maybe if they're a runner or a jogger or a sprinter, or if they are some kind, I don't know, rock climber or something like that, endurance training and stuff like. No. Regardless of training, regardless of activity level and level of if they're obese or if they're underweight or if they're, all of these genetics, none of this matters. None of this matters. What matters is whether they're vegan or not. Because if they're vegan, the majority of them would get beaten by non-vegans, right? Regardless of all those other factors, yeah, it totally makes sense. And obviously, remember, guys, whenever they don't have a real photo in their profile pic, that they are projecting their insecure bullshit. Chances are Philip Moots couldn't fold anyone in half, and that's why he's saying this shit. He's saying this shit because he wants to make himself feel like more of a man by saying that, well, most meat-eating men could kick vegans' asses or fold them in half. That's what he's trying to say. Kick a vegan's ass. It's like, but bro, I'm going to assume that you're one of these guys who couldn't fight your way out of a paper bag. That's what you usually get with this, the profile pic and this kind of bullshit when it's online. Chances are, dude's never been in a fight in his life. Dude's never picked up a weight in his life either, And this is how they project because they feel insecure about it. Hey, and there's nothing wrong with not fighting. There's nothing wrong with not picking up a weight. But if you think there's something wrong with it, this is the kind of shit you'll come out with. Robert says, real men do not listen to other men, tell them what to eat. Only weak ones do. Okay, real men do not listen to other men telling them what to eat. Only weak ones do. Again, this is why Jeffrey Dahmer was a real man, and the rest of us who listen to society when society says, hey, you shouldn't eat humans, we're all weak. We're all weak men. And then if you go a step further and you say, hey, you shouldn't eat baby animals, or actually you shouldn't eat any animals really because we don't need to, and you're paying other men to kill them, and these men are suffering from depression and PTSD, and no, if you listen to that, you're not reasonable. If you listen to that, actually, you're not a rational, reasonable person. You're just weak. If you listen to reason and people making sense, you're weak. You're a weak person. If you're a real man, you don't listen to people making sense. You don't listen to rational thought, and you don't use critical thinking. Real men don't use critical thinking. Real men just go by their hedonistic needs. Their pleasure. They just go for pure pleasure, no matter who it hurts, no matter what shit it causes. That's what a true man stands for, right, Robert? And once again, like I said, no profile pic, the projection, every fucking time. Anson, this is actually, I think this is actually this is a dude, yeah. Meat-free journey. If that's the case, he won't be your husband for long. A husband needs his wife to eat meat once in a while, or he will find someone who will. So I guess he's responding to some woman who said, my husband's on a meat-free journey or something like that. And he had to go for the inappropriate bit there, making a euphemism or whatever, innuendo. It's a weird one, isn't it? It's a weird one. It's kind of like semi-meat flakery. Like that, semi-reference. No, okay. Semi-meat flakery. It's just kind of icky, I feel like. When I first read it, I was like, should I include this? It kind of makes me feel a bit like you. Yeah, it's just, I don't really have much to say about it. It's just like, ugh. I feel a bit dirty, reading something like that. It makes me feel like my skin crawl a little bit. Burien or Soiler, what a name. Men should protect the innocent, not eat them. And then Randy, but you eat plants. Randy, bro, we've already been through why that's fucking stupid to compare animals to plants, haven't we? There comes a time though with this shit where it's like, there comes a time where you just feel like saying, hey, how about you come over here and I'll slap this tree and then I'll slap you and we'll see which one needs more protection by the reactions we'll get. Yeah. How about that? How about then we'll determine by the reaction who really needs protecting from who. Who is the innocent one? You know what I mean? That needs to be protected from this kind of abuse. It's most likely going to be you, Randy, you fucking meat flake. Charlie says soy boys get any more feminine, they're going to have to start helping make us men sandwiches. Nice. Love it. Pick me girl energy. If you were ever wondering what a pick me looks like, this is it. This is exactly what it is. So like, to define what it means, it's when a pick me girl or pick me boy or whatever, whoever's doing it, it's when they shit on themselves to be more appealing to whoever they're trying to attract, right? So this person's shitting on themselves and trying to be more appealing to anti-vegan men by being like, soy boys, if they get any more feminine, they're gonna have to start helping make us men. Oh wait a minute, make us men sandwiches, right? Charlie's the guy here. Shit, so no, it's not a pick me girl. I thought this was a girl. It's not a pick me girl. This is the dude. This is just some misogynist shit. Right. But that's pretty fucking expected from these meat flake numpties, right? That they like I said earlier, the kind of men who are going like soy boys and all that kind of shit and giving shit to vegans, they're often the same ones that give shit to women or other demographics that they deemed to be like inferior to them, right? So they'll probably make fun of like disabled people. They'll probably make fun of people of like, I know, refugees, you know, people they deemed to be like inferior or like different to them. This is what they tend to be like. They tend to come in this package, all kind of links in. This is like a great example of it right there. You know, he's going after vegans and he's going after, you know, vegans being feminine, and then he's going after women like, you'll have to make us sandwiches. Just an all-rounder. And you know, looks can be deceiving, don't get me wrong, but when you look at this dude here, I mean, it's kind of what you expect, isn't it, really? I'm back to Ruben again. All right, guys. It's been an emotional live stream, huh? We've been going for a little while. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope we've helped some people today. I hope some of the vegan dudes in the comments and well, it doesn't matter if you're a vegan guy. I hope in general, whoever you are, you've found something useful today. Hey, if you did, make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. Make sure if you really enjoy what's going on here and you want to help me make more content like this and more videos like this, then I'm going to burp first. Hold up. I keep burping today. Make sure you check out the Patreon team, patreon.com/David Rams. Join the David Rams team. You'll get access to some exclusive stuff, exclusive content that will never be ever posted on YouTube. You'll get exclusive previews of some of the videos, which is awesome. And one more thing before we go, you'll like this, guys. If you're looking for a way that you can make money for the animals and help animals without actually spending any money yourself, like totally free, but you can raise money, and all you got to do is sit there on your phone, that's it, then listen up. All you got to do, go to the description of this video and download the app A Billion. It's right there. This app, I'm working with them, and for every review you make on the app of a vegan product, completely free, by the way, you can make a review of the vegan product with a photo. For every one of those you do, they'll give you $1 that you can donate to any sanctuary or animal charity of your choice in the app. So it's unlimited. You can make 1,000 reviews and raise $1,000 for animal charities, and it's all free. The only thing you've got to buy is the product that you were going to buy anyway, and you review it, and that's it. So go for it. I don't know what you've got to wait for here, right? Download the app. When it comes up, it'll ask for a referral code. Put my name in, David Rams, all capitals, no spaces, David Rams. And that'll kick it all off for you. You can start making reviews. And also, as an awesome thing, if you do my referral code, they'll give you $1 for the charity, and they'll send me 25 cents for every review. So you'll be helping me, and you'll be helping the animals all at once. How awesome is that? It's a win-win. You can't beat it, guys. Can't beat it. Raising money for the animals for free without spending any money yourself, any extra money anyway. It's awesome. So that brings us to the end of the stream, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you, like I said earlier, I hope you have a good one. I hope you had a good stream. I hope you learned some stuff. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and I'll catch you all in the next video.